Hi everyone, this is Rion Paper. Today I have yet another ink swatching video for you, and this time we'll dive into the world of oranges. Well, not the fruit, but the color. In total I have 10 orange inks in a combination of bottles and samples. As colors can be hard to define sometimes, there will be colors that some may consider to be more of a red, for example, but to me these 10 inks are all orange. I will be swatching on 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. I have a glass of water to clean my dip pen, my Pilot Iroshizuku dip pen with a fine nib, my trusty makeshift sample file holder, and a good old kitchen towel. And yes, I know, I forgot to erase the pencil marks that I made to mark the spacing of the stamps. I realized somewhere halfway during the filming that they were still there. The first ink is Diamine Autumn Oak. I decided to swatch this one first because it doesn't really match any of the other oranges we have here. Autumn Oak starts off almost as a yellow and it shades beautifully into a darker orange. And because its color isn't all that saturated, it can sometimes appear as though there's some brown as well. In that respect, Autumn Oak is the embodiment of an autumn color. The next ink we have is J. Herbin's Orange Indien, or Indian Orange. A warm orange that's not too vibrant. It has some hints of brown because it's quite unsaturated. It's somewhat of a medium orange with a decent amount of shading. And it's quite a dry ink. This one would benefit from a broader nib or in general a wet writing pen. The third ink is Diamine Flame. Diamine Flame was first released as part of the 2022 Green Ink Event calendar, and it is a little more saturated than Orange Indien. A nice medium orange that is nowhere near a yellow or a red, just a true orange. Then we have Pilot Iroshizuku Yu-yake. Yu-yake is an interesting ink, at its core a medium orange but shading to a soft red color. Yu-yake means sunset in Japanese, so it seems only fair that the ink shows quite a range of colors. It has the tiniest rim of sheen, but there's so little of it that I can't even tell which color it is. Next up, we have probably my favorite orange ink I've tried so far, which is Dominant Industry Earl Grey Tea. It's a bright, vibrant medium orange, which, with some hints of red. It's very well behaved, super legible, just a really fun ink in my opinion. The next ink is Diamine Firefly. Firefly is a shimmer ink that is part of Diamine's Shimmertastic collection. It's a bright orange leaning a bit more towards red, especially in writing, and it has a nice gold shimmer. I like how the shimmer is definitely present but not so bright that it outshines the base color. I don't know exactly what causes this, if maybe it's the shimmer, but the ink does not perform great with a dip pen. It seems really wet and it puts down very fat lines, but it doesn't do that at all in my pens. Ink number 7 is Diamine Bugs Fizz. For those who don't know, Bugs Fizz is a cocktail, essentially the same as a mimosa. I hope I'm not offending anyone now. And this ink was introduced in last year's Purple Ink Event calendar. It's a light to medium orange that doesn't shade as much, but that has a whole lot of shimmer. It's supposed to be a chameleon shimmer, but all I really see is gold. But the shimmer is definitely more obvious than in Diamine Firefly. Then we have Robert Oster Tangerine. Tangerine is a lovely unsaturated red-leaning orange. Somehow it reminds me of the end of summer, where it's still hot and you're starting to long for cooler weather, and the foliage that was so vibrant during early summer is now all faded and washed out. Tangerine is also a very well-behaved writer, so I really like this ink. Next up we have Pilot Iroshizuku Fuyu-gaki, or Winter Persimmon. Another ink named after a fruit, and another orange that leans towards red. However, Fuyu-gaki is a lot more vibrant and saturated than Tangerine. I think this one is very similar to Pilot Iroshizuku Yu-yake, with Yu-yake being just a little bit more orange. Fuyu-gaki has a little bit of sheen in the swatch, but none in the writing. And yes, I was a little confused as to whether it's gake or gaki, but it's gaki with an I. Our last ink for today is another 2023 Purple Ink Vent ink, and it's Diamine Fireside Snug. This one is a very dark orange, and next to these other oranges it looks almost more like a red ink. It's a nice warm color, not too saturated, and the ink develops a subtle blackish sheen around the edges of the wetter spots. In writing, it appears a little more orange than in the bigger swatch. And that's it, 10 orange inks. I like how there's something for every season here, and most of these are quite different from one another. My favorite is definitely Dominant Industry Earl Grey Tea, but I also think Robert Oster Tangerine is very pretty. Enjoy this little recording of the page now that all the inks have dried completely, and you can see all the shading, the sheen, and the shimmer. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I would love to hear what your favorite orange ink is. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss the rest of the series, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye!